Thank you for joining the Build Overview for eSchool Data version 10.0. Today we're going to cover some of the newly enhanced features included in this release. The first updates that we are going to go over are in relation to our UI refresh. When launching eSchool Data in version 10.0, you're going to be introduced to the new UI. Within the new UI, you can find a new color picker up at the top where you have additional selections for the colors that you can set for your preferences. Additionally, you'll notice that on the search pages, the font has increased a bit so that it is easier to see. When reviewing any of the search pages, as you navigate down the page, you're going to notice that your column headers will remain at the top of the screen so that you know exactly what column you're looking at without having to jump to the top. We have also introduced a new quick jump back to the top of the page here. You'll also find that quick jump when you're in the student profile as you're filling out student information. It'll bring you to the top of the screen. The next update is for any page that has a side menu. You can now collapse the side menu and it'll retain that setting so that you can make better use of the real estate on the page and you can see information more clearly. The final update that you'll find within the UI refresh can be found from the student profile. You'll notice that the student search is now at the top of the page instead of being hidden underneath the student information. You can also collapse your profile menus. Users with the proper permissions will also have a new activities icon. From within the activities, based on the permissions that the user has, they will be able to either see an audit of their activities done to the student page or all activities. Again, these are permission-based, which we will go over in the next part of the updates. The next piece of the release that we are going to go over are the new permissions that have been introduced. If you navigate to System Administration, Group Maintenance, and edit any existing group, under the miscellaneous settings on the module side, you're going to see new permissions for activities. The top permission is going to enable the icon that is going to launch the activities window. Then there are two additional permissions to turn on the toggle between the two tabs of either My Activities or All Activities, and then the permission to actually view the details of the activities is below here. So if you want a user to see just their activities, you will want to make sure that you have the activities icon enabled, My Activities enabled, and View My Activities enabled. There are additional permissions that you will find underneath the registration module. These are for additional visibility for fields of viewing a student holdover, viewing student skipped grades, viewing the student's high school graduation date, and the high school graduation age. These are new fields that have been introduced in this release, and we're going to go over how they are used in the next update. The next part of the update that we are going to go over is in relation to registration and the new fields that I just showed the permissions for. Under System Registration, Registration Defaults, you're going to find new fields underneath Miscellaneous, one for graduation month and one for graduation day. This is where you can determine the general graduation date that you would like associated to the students, and when you have this set, the system will do a calculation to determine the age that the student should be when they graduate and the graduation year. In order to be able to see that information on the student profile, you want to also make sure that you have the registration fields turned on for high school graduation date and high school graduation age. If you would also like to see information relating to students that have been left back or students that have skipped a grade, you can include the holdover and the skip fields as well. The new holdover field is going to show any time that the student was left back and had to repeat a grade. This field is going to ignore any exit reasons that are set with data entry error or as a duplicate to avoid showing any data entry errors on the student profile. The skip field is going to show any grades that the student may have skipped in their academic career, and again that is also going to ignore the reasons of data entry error or duplicate. And then you have the fields of high school graduation date, which is going to show May 30th and whatever year the student would be graduating. The system is doing a calculation based off of the years anticipated between grades K and grade 12 and will populate the graduation year based off of that. And the high school graduation age is doing a calculation based off of the high school graduation date and the comparison with the student's birthday. When those four fields are enabled, you can find them on the student profile. When viewing the student profile, you'll see holdover and skip, as well as a high school graduation date, which again, it pulls that 5/30 from the registration defaults and then calculates based off of the age that the student should be when they're in 12th grade and when they reach that graduation date. And you'll see the student's graduation age, which again is based off of that calculation. The next updates are for the Digital Access Survey for the Parent Portal. If you navigate to Interoperability, ESP, and then go to Settings, if you view the Digital Access Survey tab, you'll see you now have the ability to set up default responses for each of the questions. When setting up the default responses, you can also select Read Only so that when the parents log in, they are unable to change their responses. So if you have a building that you know has sent out Chromebooks for all of the students, you can make sure that you update the questions to reflect that and make sure that they are set as read-only so that the parents cannot change them. Another change that is not visible from the front end but built-in logic in the back end is a validation for the questions to make sure that they follow the proper guidelines as directed by New York State. So if you say that a student has no device, they cannot say that they have a shared device in another question, and all of the answers will match up and have appropriate answers. The next updates are for the attendance letter jobs. If you navigate to System, Attendance, and Attendance Jobs, you're going to see new checkbox options next to each of the attendance jobs. What this is going to do is allow you to select specific jobs that you want to run the letter job for. This is going to optimize the processing time when running the attendance letters, especially if you are a building that has multiple active jobs set up at a certain time. Another addition for the attendance letters can be found when creating a new attendance letter or going into the advanced edit of an existing attendance letter. You're going to see new options for your attendance letter so that you can run them for students that are either at risk or students that are chronically absent. These two options do follow the same parameters for the percentages that are considered at risk or chronically absent as used in the Guru widget. When you are running the attendance letters for at risk or chronically absent, you do want to make sure that you are using one of the new custom attendance letter templates so that you can actually include the details and the color indicators for the students at risk and the students that are chronically absent. After setting up an attendance letter job to run for students that are at risk or chronically absent, you will want to navigate to the attendance letter template, open up the template builder, and make sure that you include the cumulative attendance widget. From within this widget, you'll want to make sure that you enable the at risk and the chronically absent details. Additionally, under Reports, Attendance, and Attendance Letters, these new options are also available so you can run them for students that are at risk or chronically absent without having to set up a new attendance job. But again, you will want to make sure that the letter template you use is one of the custom-built templates that has enabled the details for the at-risk information and chronically absent information. The next updates are for the class rank. Under Reports, Grade Reporting, if you select a prior run, you're going to see a new option to rerun. What this is going to do is allow districts to rerun the class rank based off the parameters that were selected for a previous run. You can select a prior run, see the settings that the rank was run by, and then rerun that class rank. Additionally, for the class rank, there has been a new rule introduced for Guru. Users will now have an entity type of class rank run, with the option to either overwrite the previous runs or create a new class rank run. And on the following page, you'll see all of the different parameters that you usually have to run your class rank. This Guru rule will allow users to select default rank options for each of the grade levels and set them up to run on a job instead of having to go into the class rank page and manually trigger the class rank runs. This job is pretty extensive on the system, so there is a check in place to prevent you from running it in the middle of the day. We do recommend that this is something that gets set up to run weekly and after school hours to prevent any slowness in the system. The final update in this release is the ability to enable a class-friendly name. If you navigate to District Schools and School Information, you're going to see a new option under the school settings that says Allow Section-Friendly Name. When this option is enabled, teachers will be able to go in and edit the display name that they see for each of their classes within Teacher Connect. When the teachers log in and they access the Staff Schedule Views Semester View tab, they're going to have the ability to edit the display of the class name under the column for section name. They can select Edit and enter the display name that they would like to see within Teacher Connect as they're navigating around. Once that's set up, after the teacher launches Teacher Connect, you're going to see that within their drop-down, the new display name is available. This display name, again, is just visible for the teachers. Parents will not see this change on the parent portal, and this change will not be pushed to the student schedules or report cards. That concludes the highlights for Release 10.0. If you would like to find more information about the bug fixes and additional items that were included in this release, you can visit the Help site and select the Release Notes tab for more information.